Lilo and Stitch finally saw this movie, and yeah, it was not good, but we'll talk about that. Before I get into this review, I did review the original movie, all of its direct to video sequels, the two TV movies, and I reviewed the TV series, not the anime one, but the other one. Um, yeah, I reviewed all that stuff. It's all up on my channel. Yeah, I if you know me, I don't like Disney live action remakes. This is no different. Let's start with positives and we'll get into negatives. I do appreciate that they tried to make changes. None of them actually worked per se. But I do like my biggest frustration with these movies is that they are either the same movie again. And so I really just don't like that. But I know that a lot of the people's frustration with these movies is when they make changes and you're like, but what did you want? The same movie again? And you get the impression that is what people want. So I appreciate when they try to change things up and not do that. Because at the end of the day, if they just want the original movie again, then just go watch the original movie again. Like, why do you need these bullshit remakes? But I appreciate that they attempted to make some changes while none of them particularly worked. The effort was there, and I could tell the director tried to do things for the sake of bettering the story or the plot, even though it didn't all really work because at the end of the day, he clearly had some love for the original source material. So I think that is on the screen. Like, I do think this movie is the one that feels the most animated and feels like someone who likes animation directed it to some level. It's still just bad in concept, so that's why none of it works. But I get into that. Stitch is great. He's cute. Not much more needs to be said. Chris Sanders does the voice again. He's great. And then the actress who did Nani, I thought she did a good job. Everything else was not good. So we'll talk about that. This movie, the biggest problem with this movie is two things. There's actually two problems with this movie that really hurt it, the whole thing. The first is that a lot of people don't think about this movie, and I'm surprised more people aren't really noticing this. This was originally intended to go straight to streaming for Disney Plus, and then Disney decided at last minute, I think late last year, to put this in theaters. And so when you think about that, I think this movie was pretty much done by the time they made that decision. Which, they only made this movie for pretty short amount of money. So when you think about things of like, people were like, why did they make Jumba the villain and why did we not get Gantu? Well, you didn't get Gantu because Gantu takes a lot of money to animate. And that's a lot of CGI. The less CGI, the better. Why are Pleakley and Jumba not in their CGI forms, right? Why are they not cross-dressing? Well, the reason why is because that's a lot of money to animate, right? Now, the director did say something in an interview about why he made the change with not having Gantu. Mike, that's bullshit. I don't believe that at all. I think he's straight up lying to chill some people's concerns. But let's be real, it was money. Like, it's just very clearly it was money. So, I also think this is just a theory. Don't take this as actual truth. I do believe with Pleakley, part of the reason they also didn't have the human disguises is because in this trans hate society right now, even though the character itself is not trans or like not really trying to say anything about that, the fact that he likes cross-dressing so much could be taken the wrong way. And I really feel like if you were going to update Lilo and Stitch, that is one aspect I would have updated, where I would have made him just, be a gay alien that likes to cross-dress, like a femboy or whatever, or just a drag queen or whatever he likes to be. Like, that's fine. Let him be him. Like, I think that's kind of a funny aspect of the original that I felt like you could have updated, but I guess they maybe didn't want to go that way because Disney is kind of trying to be more conservative on LGBTQ things. Bob Iger said some things about that, but I think it ended up maybe hurting this potential. I'm not sure if that's why they made that decision, but I do think that is a huge possibility at this point. And I want to just bring that up because I noticed no one's talking about that, and I think that is like a huge thing with that. I don't know. Sorry to bring that out of the mood with all that shit, but I just want to talk about that. I think, but that's the one thing is like the streaming thing is really like a big thing about it. Like you see that, it also just looks cheap at multiple points. Like, it's in Hawaii, but I don't really feel like we're in a Hawaii because there's so few, like, very limited locations on the island, where the island felt massive. You got all these sequences that just really felt bigger than they are in here. They just feel smaller, and it's probably because that's how they had to be. It almost felt like they were really just shooting on the same like 5 sets at a certain point, and I was like, So the big Hawaiian island, we don't really get to see it very much, and it really felt like that throughout that. I also think that the second problem with this movie is just it's I went lost. I'm tired tonight. It's just that it really is just bad in concept to remake this movie because it was already so perfect is one problem, but really biggest problem for me is by the end of this movie I felt like it just missed the heart of the original. I'm like, because it's hitting all the same beats as the original, but I'm like, the emotions are just not there. And I think a lot of it boils down to Jumba, number one, is the villain in this movie, which is a really bad decision. Zach Galifianakis was terrible as that. And so him being changed around to not come around to the family was very weird. And I also think Zach Galifianakis was so bad because I never bought that he's like an evil genius. I bought that he's a dumbass. That's a part of Jumba's character, is that he's kind of dumb. He's also an evil genius, and it's really weird that they chose him for that role. Did not like that. Very bizarre. But really, it's just missed the point of the emotions of the original movie, because you got all these people yelling at Nani, being like, look, you should be free to let Lilo live her own life, surrender custody. And it felt like everybody was pressuring her into it, when the point of the original movie is Ohana, and they don't say Ohana as much as in this movie as they do in the original. They say all these other Hawaiian terms, which is fine, but it just felt like, why are we not keeping with the original themes? It just didn't, because by the end of it, the movie's trying to get those same emotions as the original, but they're just not connecting. Like, there's also not those beautiful sequences with Stitch looking through that book of the Ugly Duckling, taking it literally and trying to like find his family. That sequence is heartbreaking, a really wonderful sequence, but now I'm just watching it going, wow. There's just so many aspects to this movie of people just not understanding the point of this movie and what it was trying to say and what it was trying to do. And it's very clear that is just a symptom of these Disney live action remakes. Because like I said, this is the one that feels the most animated. Some of the humor feels like gags that you would find in an animated movie. Stitch looks straight out of the animation to some level. and all that stuff. But the problem is that they just don't connect. I don't know. It just didn't work. Last thing I want to mention, I want to mention this last because there's going to be a lot of people who probably push back on me about this, but I'm going to say it because it's true. The actress who plays Lilo is terrible. And it's not her fault. She's a kid, and she's just not a good actress. You know, right? And again, it's not her fault she's a kid, but like from the very opening scene, you see her with the other hula girls, and just by the way they deliver their lines, you're like, these kids are better at acting than she is. And the problem with Lilo is like some of her lines sounded okay. Like she would say them and they sound okay. They sound like, okay, that's a well delivered line. Like that's kind of works. But then she would say another line that felt like she's reading off of a cue card or a script and not acting. And then there would be other points where Lilo just several points in the scene where I'm like, this is what's going on right now, and your face is still the same. Like it's just blank, and you're supposed to be reacting to stuff. Sometimes she can make it work, other times she can't, and it's not the actress's fault. Part of it is you are working with CGI characters, and she's a little girl, but at the same point, you're like, man, she was just really bad. And, I really feel like you could have picked someone better to be Lilo. And I'm not really sure why they chose her. I mean, it's funny, I've seen some reviews actually, like, praise her as a highlight of the movie. I'm like, what movie did you watch? Because her acting stunk. It was just not good. So, yeah, this movie is not a good movie. And genuinely, there's a lot of people telling you this is the best Disney live action remake, and they're right. I think the Jungle Book one is better actually, but overall, what does that even mean, right? Because we're talking the best in a group of movies that don't have a reason to exist other than money, and that's what I find so absurd about these statements. It's like saying like, well, 50 Shades, whatever the fuck, is the best one of the trilogy. I'm like, okay, but they're all fucking terrible, so what do I care, right? If you go out in your backyard and you find 3 shits on the ground from your dog and you're like, that shit in the middle is the best one, it's not really anything worth praising. And that's kind of how I feel about this one. I thought it was cute enough that I enjoyed the watch I had with it, but I'd never watch it again. It made me want to watch the original, which I guess is what Disney wants. I did give them money by paying for my ticket tonight and buying the 4K Blu-ray of the original movie. So maybe I'm part of the problem. But at the end of the day, what do you guys want from me? I don't know. I just think this whole thing with these live action remakes, it's just so sad. Because it was kind of like funny too with Snow White bombing. They're like, well, maybe we'll make less. And then this movie's about to make $1 billion. And they're like, actually, we'll make more. And we'll make a sequel to this one. Which I think is a bad idea, by the way. Because I thought, like, at first I was like, that's actually not that bad of idea. Like, financially speaking, I don't want it. But there's so much lore and in the Lilo and Stitch universe with the various TV shows and stuff, but they've already fucked up Jumba so bad, and we don't have Gantu and all these things, that it just feels so weird to do a sequel. Also, there was too many characters in this movie, like the social worker and the CIA agent are 2 different characters, and there's not really a reason for it. There's just so many points. I'm like, okay, we changed things, we did things differently, but was there a point to it? No. None of it worked. Last thing, I guess I'll praise one more thing. Even though Zach Galifianakis was bad as Jumba, there was a couple points he gave me a couple laughs. Same thing with Pleakley. I thought he had a couple lines that kind of worked. Overall, this movie was just not good. But people are enjoying it, and that's cool, I guess. Me personally, I want good movies, so I didn't enjoy it. So thumbs up. Go check it out. It's great. I'm tired, guys. What do you want from me? Yeah, I really should not record these reviews late at night, but sometimes it just has to be that way because I'm just too wiped.